So I guess season so far, we're 5 races in. How do you assess what's happened so far?
Obviously, quite a bit's happened in the first 5 races, but I mean, the statistics of it are a second, a fourth, a sixth, and another second place and 2 pole positions. And we know that there's areas of the car that we really need to improve. So I would say that Max has extracted every ounce of performance. And we've optimized race weekends so far. So we're only sitting 12 points behind in the drivers' championship. Obviously, the second car, we had the driver change at race 3. Yuki's finding his feet. The last 2 races comfortably into Q2. The last race he should have been, if he'd have repeated his Q2 time, P6 on the grid. Unlucky with a racing incident, I would say, on the first lap. But I think that performance is going to start to come with him now. So lots to do, but a lot of positives to take out of the first 5 races as well.
Tensions, penalties, driver shakeups. Red Bull's season is already chaos. Christian Horner breaks it all down in this rare, unfiltered interview. Check this video out.
So what about Jeddah? Are you feeling still a bit miffed about how that played out with the penalty for Max, or?
Well, it's frustrating, obviously. You look at, if we had given the position back, we chose not to at the time because it would have put us under pressure from the cars behind. Plus, the benefit of clean air is never to be underestimated. But I think, look, the positives that came out of Jeddah were, on that first stint, we were able to pull away. And on the second stint, we were 4.8 seconds behind when we left the pit lane, and we finished the race 2.6 seconds behind Oscar. So we had the pace in that race to win it outright, which has really been the first time, I think, this year that we've had the upper hand in pace on race day to the McLarens.
Do you think, had you given that back, you could have won the race, or do you...
No, I think overtaking in that circuit, as you saw, is so hard. And when you run in the dirty air, to get close, particularly in that awesomely quick first sector, there would have been no chance. So it was frustrating. Obviously, it was a very marginal call, hence the 5-second penalty, not a 10-second. But it is what it is, and our focus is now very much on the next race.
If Max is dragging a diva car to multiple podiums and keeping the title race this tight, what happens when Red Bull actually nails the balance? We're not just watching damage control, we're watching championship caliber driving under pressure. This isn't luck, it's greatness in motion.
Is it a one-off weekend, or have you now got a better understanding of the car? Will we see more of this sort of performance?
That is the $1 million question that I don't think anybody really has the answer to. I think that we're starting to get a much better understanding of RB21 and where we need to improve. We're working hard on that. The whole team is very focused on that, and we've got another succession of races coming up that are going to be fascinating. I mean, Miami's going to be another hot race. Theoretically, should favour the McLarens, and then we come back to Europe. So let's see.
Has it been a head scratcher of a car?
I think for the engineering team, it has been a head scratcher, and they've done a great job in perfecting setups over the weekend and really making progress. But it's been a lot bigger changes than we've historically been used to over the last few years to get to that point. So the car has been a little bit of a diva so far this season, but hopefully as we're getting to know each other better and updates start to subtly appear on the car over the coming races, we'll be able to have a more predictable car and better balance.
Is it a good enough car to give Max that 5th world title? Because I know that's been the ambition from the start of the season.
Only the points table will tell at the end of the year. I mean, there's a lot of racing to go. We're not even a quarter of the way through the season yet. But 5 races in, 12 points behind in the drivers, a couple of pole positions, a win, a couple of second places. With what we've had, that's not not too bad. But now the key is getting performance on the car, dealing with some of its vices, and of course we've also got a significant change in Barcelona when the front wings significantly change in their behaviour. So again, whether that will benefit some or be to the detriment of others, only time will tell.
The real story isn't how tricky the car is. It's how calmly and strategically the team is responding. Has any other team adapted this quickly to a moving target like RB21? This isn't about peaking early. It's about weathering volatility and staying in the title fight. Champions manage chaos, and Max is doing just that.
Seeing that McLaren are the dominant car and have been at the start of the season, but for Max to be within 2 points of Lando and 12 points of Oscar is what, remarkable? Or
yeah, it's really encouraging, and I think we've got to get, as I say, some performance on the car. Our advantage is that Max is de facto our primary hope for the Drivers' Championship, so all focus is on him with that. Whereas McLaren have two number one drivers that ultimately are and will take points off each other. So, that adds in another dynamic. And of course, Mercedes and Ferrari aren't too far away either. So if these cars continue to develop and concertina, it could be really exciting over the coming races.
If we talk about Max, that Suzuka lap, is that the standout from him this season?
That Suzuka lap was, outstanding. That again, I think the team did a good job to be able to give him a car that he could work with, and then he just had to go and extract every ounce of performance and be inch perfect. And I think the others perhaps didn't extract everything out of their cars, and Max did, and left nothing on the table. And it was enough by the smallest of margins to get that pole position. It felt like it was going to be a competition for third place. But Max just pulled out the most amazing lap. I could see on his compare time that I follow, you get intently sucked into how much is he up on the lap through every single corner. And he came down to Spoon, and he absolutely nailed it. And then you can see the compare time. He's gaining 10.5, 2/10 on his previous lap, and you're looking at, okay, if he can hang on to this, then there's a sniff of a front row here. It's going to be close, and you're watching that compare time, and it loses 100th on the straight, and then he absolutely nailed the last chicane, and found another I think 3/4 of a tenth of a second there, had a good exit, kept it tight to the line, and by the narrowest of margins was good enough to get the pole. For me, watching him drive the car is a little bit like Roger Federer at the top of his game, hitting a tennis ball. He does it with such precision and timing. Again, you watch that first sector in Jeddah, and we're seeing a driver, and it's such a joy to watch and see, totally at one, totally confident in himself, and extracting every ounce of performance, and his timing and accuracy has been outstanding.
What do you call a driver who takes a non-dominant car and still lands pole at Suzuka? That's not luck. That's Verstappen-level mastery. Red Bull is focused. One target, one driver, no internal rivalry. That strategic clarity is how you win tight title fights.
Is Max the greatest driver you've had for this team?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, we've been blessed to have some very talented drivers here, and of course a four-time world champion in Sebastian Vettel, but I think Max even takes it a step further than that.
And is he the greatest ever in Formula One for you?
I think that's so difficult to judge. He's certainly the greatest that is on the grid at this point in time. I mean, how you compare generations, but he has to be talked about in the same bracket now as some of the very greatest of all time in the sport. Yeah, he's got all the capability to achieve many records, but it will depend on him, us giving him the tools to do the job, and how long he ultimately wants to stay in the sport.
What did you make of him being sort of tight-lipped after the last race? Did you have sympathy, empathy for him in that situation?
I thought he showed great maturity, to be honest with you, because it's the hardest thing in the world. These guys jump out of the cars, they're full of emotion, full of adrenaline, and they get around the microphone under their nose. Again, it just showed real maturity, that it was like taking a breath. And I'm not going to expose myself to criticism here. So I completely understood it.
Are you confident he'll stay here? Obviously, he's your jewel in your crown that you want to keep him.
But Max is a huge part of our team, and he's very much enmeshed in everything that we're doing development-wise. There's an awful lot of noise externally. Sometimes we wonder where on earth that comes from, because there is not the same noise internally. Max has got his head down. He's fully committed. He's voiced that commitment to the team, to all the leadership within the team, and everybody's just focused on improving the car and competing, for the World Championship. So yes, where the headlines come from is sometimes difficult to understand.
So he'll be here driving for Red Bull next season.
Yeah. He's got a contract until 2028. Of course, if we can't deliver him a competitive car, inevitably then questions, he'll raise questions about that. But he's absolutely committed. This team has provided him with a car that won 64 or 65 Grand Prix so far, 4 World Championships, and he enjoys working with the people. He has a great relationship, with the team, the engineering staff, and we're all in it together at the end of the day. And as a team, you win together, you lose together, and you stick together.
How often do you see a driver combine raw dominance with that level of emotional discipline? Staying silent post-race wasn't weakness, it was strength and maturity. Max isn't just fast, he's smart, measured, and in total command. The headlines might try to stir transfer drama, but the 4-time F1 champion is locked in.